passed after the evening, something inside me began to shift quietly, not in a dramatic way, but like the slow movement of the earth beneath old foundations. Unseen yet powerful, and I started noticing things I had ignored for years, small details that now connected into a painful pattern. My son's voice grew firmer, his instructions more frequent, and his patience thinner, as if my silence had convenienced him that authority belonged slowly to him, and every decision in the house was no his to make. I was told when guests could come, which rooms I should avoid, how much water I should use, and even when I should rest. And each command was wrapped in the language of responsibility, disguised as concern while stripping me of dignity piece by piece. I watched how to he spoke confidently to others about managing the household, how he referred to expenses as his burden, and how my presence was mentioned as an obligation he carried, never once acknowledging the years I carried him without complaint. His wife, who once spoke kindly to me, now mirrored her words carefully, aligning herself with comfort rather than fairness, and I realize how easily people choose sides when power appears settled. My grandchildren, innocent yet observant, began copying what they say, responding slowly when I called them, hesitating before hugging me, learning without words that respect was optional when it came to elders. I felt that weight of invisibility growing heavier, yet alongside it, a strange clarity emerged, a realization that love without self respect teaches other how to treat you, how to treat you. I remembered on parents how they aged with authority not because they demanded it, but because boundaries were clear. Boundaries were clear, and I wondered if my softness had been mistaken for surrender one afternoon while sitting near the window watching dust dance in the sunlight. I overheard my son speaking on the phone, casually mentioning plans to renovate, to sell part of the land someday, to expand, to move forward, and with every word I felt the truth pressing against my chest because he spoke as if everything already belonged to him, as if my existence was temporary and ownership permanent. I did not comfort him. Instead, I listened because listening revealed more than arguing ever can, and in his confidence, I had not curiosity but assumption, the dangerous belief that time along time along transfer rights. That nights I opened the old folder quietly, running my finger over the documents I had protected for decades, papers that carried not just legal weight but the story of my life. And for the first time I understood that Protecting peace do not always mean staying silent. Sometimes it means preparing. I remembered my husband's voice, his insistence that security was my greed, but responsibility that kindness should never cancel wisdom. And I felt his presence in that quiet room, steady and reassuring. Over the following days, I began asserting myself in small ways, sitting where I wished, speaking when I felt the need, no longer apologizing for existing, and each small act unsettled the balance my son had grown comfortable with. He noticed the change, questioned it, challenged it, reminding me again and again of expensive, of effort, of his role as provider, and each reminder strengthened my resolve rather than weakening it because I finally was the difference between care and control. Tension filled the house like thick air before a storm. Conversation shortened, smile faded, and meals were eaten in silence. Yet within me a calm took root, the calm of someone who knows the truth and is no longer afraid of it. I was not planning revenge, nor did I wish to humiliate him. My heart still carried the softness of a mother, but no, it was balanced by the firmness of a woman who understood her month. I realized that the greatest mistake parent make is believing that love alone is enough to teach respect, forgetting that example and boundaries shape character far more than sacrifice ever could. As I lay awake at night listening to the sounds of the house settling, I knew that a moment was approaching, a moment where assumptions would meet reality, where words spoken carelessly would be weighed against truth, and while fear still whispered doubts, wisdom spoke louder, reminding me that dignity delayed is still dignity, and the foundation beneath this house, both physical and moral, was about to be tested in way none of us were fully prepared for. Because when truth finally speaks, it does not shoot, it simply stands firm, and everything built on assumption begins to shake.